Welcome back to another episode of Out of Bounds. I'm your host Terry, and today, Bleached blind, bad built Butch body. But before bursting into bizarre banter, we're going to break down the beef. So, Kendrick versus Drake. I almost said Kendrick versus Lamar, but I didn't. Kendrick versus Drake beef. I started a video, actually got 30 some minutes into it, but it was just a lot of pauses and I just couldn't make it through. But I wanted my voice heard and my opinion felt, and unfortunately I couldn't put it out in the middle of the beef. So we'll talk about this real quick. Kendrick won. And actually, before I should have said that, I'm a fan of Kendrick, fan of Drake, fan of J. Cole. Those three comprise probably the most of my of my discography in my phone. That's not the word, but you know what I meant. They have the most songs in there prior to all this beef. So big fan of all three. As I mentioned, I went to a Drake concert in February. Drake and J. Cole, I should say. And I don't know if I gave my thoughts on it, but overall I would say that I just felt, I knew I didn't know all of Drake's stuff, because Drake popped off when I was like just coming into high school. So he's had like 3, 4, 5 careers. And so I knew he had a lot of music that I didn't know about, but the sequencing of it threw me off, because there were just too many songs in between the songs that I knew. So I never felt like I was in a groove. And I think it would have been better for him to go through the different eras or something. And I thought him and J. Cole would mix and match a little bit more, but they didn't. It was Drake concert, mini J. Cole concert, 2 songs, Drake and J. Cole, then Drake concert. So, but all that to say that I know that Drake has a whole side that I'm not into. And that's fine, because the stuff that he does that I like. And so there's that. And when the beef started off, I just felt I like that. I like that record. Like That for me is the best song out of the whole bunch. And that's just as a song. But what this thing taught me is that I don't really like rap beefs. I honestly don't. And I know that's not the cool thing to say, but I don't really care, because no matter what happens, people say, well, it's hip hop. And I have to say, that's not the hip hop I grew up on. So people excuse anything with it's hip hop. And for me, I think my 2-3 years dabbling in battle rap, like the URL, Smack, all that, it really changed my view, because with them, they can't repeat songs, they can't repeat bars, they can't steal bars, they gotta be able to rebuttal in real time, like all these things that to me make it way more of a craft than, industry rappers. Even though they rely too much on gun bars, drug bars, like I don't believe all of them do that. Same thing like regular rap. But their craft is so much more of a sport. So this beef I don't care about. Like, I was around for 50 versus Ja. I know of Pac versus Big. Obviously Eazy and NWA, all that. And Jay-Z, Nas, like all that, but I've never cared too much about it, and this made me realize that I don't care about that, because none of that shows me you're a better rapper. Like, even the idea of we get on the same song, oh, my verse killed your verse, that's new to me. I never looked at it like that. If it's a collaboration, it's a collaboration. I enjoy y'all together on the same song. And so this beef really made me realize a lot of stuff for me. Like everybody else, I don't care what the majority thinks. Cool. But for me, the beef it's silly. And J. Cole kind of cemented that the way people reacted to him, because he said it's not in my heart. And I realized people are WWE fans, and I stopped watching wrestling a long time ago because it was fake. But people don't care. No one cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining than Charlemagne the God. So people wanted some fake beef. Like, they didn't care that J. Cole did not actually feel this way. They wanted you to make it, you wanted you to sell it. So for me, I just felt like, yeah, this isn't really it. And so yeah, that's kind of what I took away from the beef. But, putting that aside, I would say Kendrick won. And partly that's because of the internet. The internet gives a lot more juice that wasn't there before. And I think fandom is annoying. Much like people hate the Cowboys, you don't care about Michael Irvin in the 90s and 80s. Like, you care more about the fact that the fans are annoying. Same thing with Bears versus Packers. It's the fans that are annoying. I love Kendrick. I love the music. But I found myself feeling like I was against Kendrick just because how stupid his fans were acting. And then there were dumb fans on Drake's side too, but I saw more Kendrick. And so fandom is annoying. And I think that ruined the beef for me. But we got new music and all that. But yeah, I just don't think talking about pedophilia and domestic abuse and all that stuff, people, it's just hip hop. It's just hip hop. Nah, that's not the hip hop. No. So I do think Kendrick won. But overall, I thought they both were goofy. And I just think most fans were either hating Drake or jock riding Kendrick, and they wouldn't give it a fair shake. So the discussion just was unnecessary. But we got a lot of good songs, man. And yeah, we'll see what kind of happens next. All right, going on from that, we talked about, real quick, with Congress or any governing body, people know how to work within the rules to be very ignorant. And if you sit in on any of these sessions, if you part of any council or anything that does like this type of stuff, you know that people can get ignorant within the rules. That's just how it goes. So I'm not gonna sit here and be shocked by it. It's funny, it's entertaining, and we could say it's sad, but that's how every level of governance goes. I was recently in Springfield, Illinois, doing something with a group, and we sat in on a session. It's the same petty stuff. People know how to work within the rules to be petty. And we are more worried about all these other things than actually getting stuff done. That's just a whole nother conversation. All right, so speaking of government and all that, let's talk about X-Man 97. So X-Man 97, I was locked in. I was absolutely locked in the entire time. I was a big fan of the X-Men series back then, and then they came back with the continuation. And overall, I just gotta say kudos for the writing. And I know Bo DeMayo and that whole scandal is kind of happening, so we don't know where it's gonna go. But what I will say is it's tough to write something from scratch. Don't get me wrong. It is tough to write something from scratch. But I also feel like it is very tough to write within somebody else's voice while giving it something new but staying true to the voice. And I think the dialogue, the way Beast talked, the way Nightcrawler talked, Magneto, everybody, it stayed true to what I remember as a kid, but it added new levels to it. It added deeper depth and all those things. And so that is a big credit, but also it gives you a moral dilemma, as some of the great things do. What is the correct answer here? And I struggle with it every day, to be honest. I think about it. I think about, well, what if I was a mutant? And yes, we know the allegory or all the comparisons of being a other, no matter what that might be, that you're a other. But also with the X-Men, it's a different level because you are an evolutionary step. So now these people that are not other, they feel inferior, that people are being born every day with superpowers. What can we do? And so even though we paint the humans as the villain, it's hard to sit here and say that they're not right on some level. And I think that was the line that they wrote perfectly, almost to a fault, because I don't know what the answer is. Even looking at this show, I don't believe Magneto's right. I don't believe Professor X is right. I don't believe Bastion is right. I don't believe Sinister is right. I don't believe anybody's right. Who is right? Is there a right answer in this situation? And I think that's what makes it compelling TV. So there's a lot I could say about it, but overall, in a nutshell, I really enjoy X-Men 97. Can't wait to the next season. And I'm just curious to what do you think you would do in that situation as a human or as a mutant? So there's that. NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs are going somewhat as expected. It's just a lot of injuries, especially in the East. So Boston kind of had a cakewalk. New York Knicks lose tonight or this afternoon. And again, injuries piled up. And so even if they won, they would have faced the Celtics without some of their key pieces on top of Julius Randle. So it's just it is what it is in the East. And then in the West, we got a battle. We'll see if the Nuggets come through, but the Mavs come through. That was just an excellent. I mean, I do think that's a Western Conference final in a different year, but that was an excellent series, and that was an excellent game. And the Mavs just finished it off, man. I'm not gonna say the youth, because it's not like the Mavs are super experienced either, but the Mavs finished it off with a thrilling win, so they go on. Joker versus Luka would be great, but we might have Ant-Man versus Jokers or Luka, so we'll see. But either way, I think the playoffs have been a success. Because of injuries, some things been a little more predictable than others, and that's been unfortunate. I think that's been the big talk. But overall, the NBA is back. The rules have forced these players to play. It's forced these super teams to break up. Kudos to Adam Silver, even though I hate the play-in, I hate the in-season tournament. It has forced a lot of these teams to play some of the other rules, and so kudos for them for bringing the competitiveness back. So as it sits today, Celtics have to be the favorite, but I don't trust them, and so I almost want to take whoever comes out of the West, but we'll see. I'm still say Celtics are the favorite. All right, lastly, we got Diddy. No Diddy. The thing I want to say about that is, much like the Ray Rice case, you got these people who they don't take stuff seriously until they see the visual proof. And I get it. Not everybody learns the same. Not everybody takes the information the same. But the Ray Rice case was it was eye-opening to me, especially because I remember reading the articles in the description, and it told you exactly what it was. Strucker calls her to fall, strike her head against the thing, blah blah. And it was, and you know, whatever the suspension was, whatever anything was, it was just like, okay, cool. And then the video comes out and it's uproar. And so obviously you had people who were in uproar before, but there were a lot of people that didn't care. So it might be you never read it and you saw the video, oh, I care. Or you read it, you're like, oh, whatever. I saw the video, it's more visceral. Okay, now I care. But either way, I think it's a bad sign. And it's the same thing with Diddy. Like, first of all, no disrespect to the woman who went through that. No disrespect to anything. What he did was terrible. But it's light compared to his allegations. And so you really see people are not reading. Like, the stuff that he's been accused of is insane. And people went up in arms about Diddy over this video, which they should, but it's just like, y'all waited until now. And I think that just opens up a different discussion because, again, you got to be able to read. You got to be able to decipher information through critical thinking and not just rely on something visual to help spark you. So if you read it and you didn't care and then you watched the video, that's sad. If you didn't read it because you didn't want to read, but you was quick to click a video, that's sad. So stuff like that bothers me. But again, if you listen to the people speaking out against Diddy over years, if you look at what he's been accused of in court through these various people, this isn't shocking. This man has been a monster in many ways. So I personally think, you know, delayed or not, the outrage is here, and hopefully we shut him down. I mean, a lot of people say his career is over. I don't know how much he's been doing in these last few years, but still, I think we put this discussion to bed because you have some people who are sticking up for him, who were sticking up for him, and some that still do for whatever warped reason they have in their mind. And so I think this puts this to bed. And a lot of people, again, I think problematically, say, well, now that I saw this, I believe everything else. I don't know that that's the right answer, but at least we're getting to the side of like, okay, this dude is a monster. And we'll see. I don't think criminally for that, I know that's not gonna work. A lot of people are like, why is this video just coming out? Why is he not charged? And I have to feel it's the same people that make fun of people for being woke, quote unquote. Like, you gonna make fun of people for being woke, but you don't understand how this video could be under wraps? That's because you not really understanding the systems. You're not really understanding the power dynamics at play because you sleep and you was happy to be asleep. So stop making fun of being woke and wake up. This is how the world works, black man or otherwise. And so that's just kind of what I have to say about Diddy. But anyway, we wrapped all that up pretty quick. So that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about all these things. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.